Let's study how we sell a solution rather than software. As I mentioned to you before, buyers don't care about our software. They are not buying it for the sake of buying software. There's no glory in that. They're buying it because they believe it will help them achieve a business outcome, something they desire. And I will tell you later on, not in this chapter and not in the next chapter, I will go over how you build business cases, the common ones we see in our industry. So I will cover all that. If you're hearing this saying, David, I have no idea how to build a business case here. That's why I sell just the product. I can't sell a solution because I don't know what they need. Calm, breathe. I'm going to get you there. We're going to cover it all. And the beauty about an online course like this is you can go back and study these chapters over and over again. Let me give you a little secret. Until you take the final and pass it, you can keep going over these modules over and over again to ingrain the lessons. That's what you should do. That's what I've done. When I have online courses, I will review them until I ingrain in my gray cells the knowledge I need. So, when we talk about selling a solution, here are some common business outcomes people are looking for from our software. Number one, regulatory compliance. GDPR has hammered companies. Companies like Marriott, I think British Airways is another one. Google is another one. And Twitter, oh goodness, Twitter can't get enough fines to satisfy the regulators. And I will tell you, as of the time that I'm recording this, the regulators and the people who are working on GDPR, the people in charge of it, they're going to make it tighter. That's what I see. CCPA, same thing. PII, PHI, all these regulatory compliance matters are very big, and companies and federal agencies want a solution for it. They don't want to get these big fines. And the second thing they don't want is they don't want the fines announced in the media. That erodes their brand. I mean, think about Equifax when they are all about privacy and about data and they get a breach. Oh, goodness. Anyway, I could talk more about that, but let's continue down this list. 360-degree view of customer. Most companies and federal agencies, they want a complete 360-degree view of customer. And when you hear this, you're saying, well, David, I don't do that. We sell data governance software. Let me take a breath. If we don't have global enterprise definitions of our data, we cannot have a 360-degree view of customer. If we do not have a place where data stewards can collaborate and decide on those definitions, valid domain values. So what do I mean by a valid domain value? Let's suppose one branch of the business says we have 5 customer types and another branch says we have 7. How many do we have in the enterprise, and do those match? If we can't do that, there is no 360-degree view of customer. And that is exactly what data governance empowers. Everything on this list screams data governance. Advanced analytics. These companies all want advanced analytics with artificial intelligence and machine learning. Newsflash, everybody. If we don't have trusted data, if we don't have one version of the truth, you can throw your artificial intelligence and your models right out the window. I work with data scientists all the time. Number one thing they're afraid of is bad data. Because no matter what kind of model they have, the best they can hope for is something directionally correct rather than scientifically accurate. If you've ever been through a PhD program, I could tell you, you are forced into scientific rigor. Many data scientists come from the world of statistics. We're supposed to have rigor in them. We're supposed to be dealing with things like bias. If our data is all messed up and there's no one version of truth, we can't do any of that. Digital transformation. Oh, goodness. Wait till we get to the CDO section of this course. We have so much digital transformation is just such a key goal of companies. And they want it to do things like you see on this list. If we don't understand our data, the who, what, why, where, how, and why of our data, then we can't do digital transformation. We're just guessing. That's all we're doing. So what we sell enables that. And as part of that, IT footprint reduction. Way too many companies have, not way too many, almost all have just unbelievably bloated, needlessly bloated IT environments, costing them billions a year in expenses. If we can reduce this redundancy, data, process, system, technology redundancy, we can help them dramatically. I will discuss this in much more detail as we move forward, but this is what we are selling. As I speak to you on this course, we're looking to close a very large deal. We're progressing with the CFO on it. His number one thing is advanced analytics. He really wants that. And we told him, we can build you a cube in a day or two, but the data won't be trusted and you won't have a single version of the truth. Do you want that? Yeah, we got to have that. Well, guess what? Now we need data governance. Anyway, buckle up. So much more coming in this chapter. Buyers are fearful by nature. I introduced this concept to you earlier in this course. Not only are they fearful, but they're cynical. And again, that's their job. What are they afraid of? They are afraid of not being successful. At the end of the day, that will be their number one fear. And they're afraid because, in truth, they don't understand the components needed for a data governance solution, whether it's software, services, workflows, processes. They don't know what they need. I have to tell you, as somebody who not only has sold data governance software, but I sell services. That's what we do, and this is our area. It is almost never the case that that a buyer comes to me and even understands the most basic first steps of data governance. They have no idea what a data governance readiness assessment is. They have little clue of what a data governance organizational framework looks like, a gap analysis of their staff, a domain/subject area model, a data governance communications plan, a data governance socialization plan, data stewardship workflows. They have no idea what most of this stuff is. Now, I will share with you. I mentioned before, if I give you this list and you're thinking, David, I don't know what this stuff is either. Have no fear. I mentioned we have a whole course just on data governance, but I will make it. I will undermine my own sales pitch right now and tell you I did a 1-year series of webinars. You can find it on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, type in EW Solutions. I did a webinar on every single one of these topics except for readiness assessments. Go to our website, ewsolutions.com. We have an automated online on-demand assessment, very cheap, that companies can use. I walk you through the assessment in there. Go take a look. You'll find it there. Probably by the time you take this course, well, I will have done a webinar on readiness assessments. So you can get all this knowledge that you need. This is so important, but this is why buyers are afraid. Because the truth of the matter is they don't understand data governance and they don't understand software. When they are looking at your data governance software and mine, they have no idea what they're looking at. They have much less knowledge than you. And this is why, if you are only selling them software and not a solution, you are adding to the fear of the buyer. Because again, they want to be successful. They don't just want to buy software. They are buying success. That's what they're looking for. So, last point on this slide, don't be afraid to partner with someone, whether it's a SME or a consulting company, that can help you with these other components. One of the reasons I've been with so many data governance software salespeople is because they've asked me to partner with them. And so I get to see how these pitches get done. And it really has been valuable. So don't be afraid of that. This is how we can be successful and transform from being a software seller to selling a solution. Let's talk about becoming a trusted advisor. I've told you enough times how much better of a salesperson a trusted advisor is. Here's the big thing you must learn. This role cannot be claimed. You have to earn it. I have been blessed enough to be a trusted advisor to some of the largest, most prestigious companies in the world. The FBI, Mayo Clinic, BP, and I can just keep naming them. At no point in time did I go to any of those people and say, I'm your trusted advisor. In fact, I've never used the term publicly with a buyer. It is something you earn through all the things that I'm talking to you about in this course. Things like your integrity, things like being a solution seller, not a product seller, and on and on and on. So before you can be a trusted advisor, you must become very knowledgeable about data governance and data stewardship. Without this knowledge, you're just going to be handcuffed in these meetings because they're going to come to you with problems. Like, I know I need to build a domain model up. How many domains should we have? And you're going to look at them and you're just going to be stuck. You won't be able to say, so let's understand what a domain is. It is the nouns of our business. Things like product, party, customer, location, material. Good domain models have somewhere between 7 to 12 domains in them with some subdomains, typically 3 to 8. I'm not reading off a paper right now. I have said this hundreds of times. It just comes off the top of my head. That's what I want you to be like. Having that knowledge transforms you. We need to work collaboratively with our buyers and never transactionally. To me, I work with the buyer saying, what do you need? What will progress you? What is required? Because that will dictate what's in the transaction. So at EWS Solutions, we sell actually quite a few things besides services, which is our meat and potatoes. We also have an online automated data governance assessment. We also have training services, live and on-demand classes like the one you're taking. We have a big data meta model, and we have industry-specific data warehouse models. I don't go to a buyer and say, here's everything we sell. What do you want? You work on the solution. And based on what we hear, I can then tailor our proposal to what they really need so that it meets that. That's how you work collaboratively with the buyer and not transactionally. It's critical. So here's the key. Don't just start by talking about your product. That is a mistake. When you first meet with a buyer, don't just start saying, hey, we have the best data governance workflows ever. Ours work so well. You can do voting. That's a mistake, an absolute mistake. Start by asking the buyer, what are their requirements? What are their expectations? And what are their concerns? Be intent to learn these things. And it's so important because when you're meeting with a buyer, if you want to become trusted, you have to balance asking questions, open-ended questions, we'll talk more about this, versus giving insight. So asking questions are things like what I've been showing you, like, hey, what are your requirements here? So you've contacted us or we got your name somehow. What are you hoping to achieve at the end of this digital transformation? Have your executives issued a statement on it? And if so, what are those? These are good questions. and balance them against giving insight. There are times when you're asking questions and times when you're saying, oh, the software you're looking at to do your product lifecycle management, have you looked at the architecture of it to make sure that it's going to work with the architecture of your overall IT environment? Now that's a very sophisticated piece of insight, but still good to have. Or giving insight could to do more of a data governance example. Oh, you've built a domain model. What are some of the domains you have? Oh, we have domains like human resources. Bad domain. We should not have that one. Great opportunity when I hear that to say, oh, based on the best practices for building a domain model, that shouldn't be one of your domains. That's a department. Domains should not correspond to departments. They can maybe in one, possibly two places, but never more than that. Great example of giving insight. So becoming a trusted advisor, you don't get to claim this role, you got to earn it. And you're going to do it by asking really good open-ended questions. Don't worry, I'm going to give you so much more on that. And you're going to balance that with giving your insight to them. I've already spoken to you about the importance of asking good, open-ended, and reflective questions. And some of you may have been saying, gosh, what does any of that mean? Well, let's dive into it. What is a reflective question? It's a question that is thought-provoking, and it doesn't have a definitive answer. Reflective questions give buyers an opportunity to explore their knowledge, their experiences, and their own ideas. It's intended to elicit thoughtful and personal responses. Responses are unique and they are personal and may not be shared by others. So, what do I mean by that? A lot of times we are not meeting with one person, we're meeting with a couple. So, when I ask a reflective question, I could get different answers from different people in that meeting. That's absolutely okay because there isn't a right or wrong answer. This is not 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 has only one answer. It's 2. Now, I have a middle schooler, so the wiseacre middle schooler will say, well, 1 plus 1 can equal 11, or it can equal, what's the other thing? Hockey sticks or some other stupidity. Let's stay mathematical. 1 plus 1 always equals 2. And a good reflective question isn't scientific. It is all about people sharing their knowledge, their experiences, and their ideas. Ask reflective questions that force your buyer to think more deeply on their requirements. So here's some examples. What hesitations do you have about moving forward with our software? I mean, that is a great question. Wouldn't be my first, but that would be one of the questions. How does data governance enable your business model? I love this question. I ask it all the time. How does it enable your business model? Because that's going to give you insights as to why they want it, why they're even talking to us. You're going to need this, especially when we get into business cases and we get into the negotiation phase. So just put a little mark on that one. What KPIs, key performance indicators, are you targeting for our data governance program? So these are really good reflective questions. Asking people what situations or things have happened at your company that brought you to the realization that you need to build a data governance program. That's a great question. These are wonderful, so have them written down and be ready.